Okay, only the existence of a field of force can account for the motions of the bodies as observed, and its assumption dispenses with space curvature. All literature on this subject is futile and destined to oblivion. So are all attempts to explain the workings of the universe without recognizing the existence of the ether and the indispensable function it plays in the phenomena. My second discovery was of a physical truth of the greatest importance. As I have searched the entire scientific records in more than a half a dozen languages for a long time without finding the least anticipation, I consider myself the original discoverer of this truth, which can be expressed by the statement: there is no energy in matter other than that received from the environment, the ether. Okay, that's Nikola Tesla. That's his suppressed quote. He's always suppressed. They suppressed him. His suit protects him from the extremes of space, a vacuum, right? That's why they tested him? No. But he still needs a blanket? Who's making this shit up, man? Explain this shit. Again, this is a problem for me, NASA. Okay, look at this. Again, parallel lines converge at the vanishing point. It's perspective. Okay? Beautiful. The idols we worship. Not we. The fucking dumbed down masses. Canaan, 1300 BCE. Wall Street, 2000 AD. Okay. NASA, entry-level exam. You must learn how to work underwater, okay? Because that's how they do space. Instead of practicing in a vacuum, which is that they say space is. If space is a vacuum, you have to practice in a vacuum, right? But they don't. It's too dangerous. If they can't even practice in a controlled environment vacuum, how are they supposed to do it in an uncontrolled vacuum of space? Okay? They're just telling you it has a vacuum. Space doesn't even exist, and then they just tell you it has a vacuum. Okay, Globehead on cognitive dissonance believes in heliocentrism without ever having seen physical evidence or proof of a spinning ball hurtling through space. I find your blind faith disturbing, very disturbing, scary. $5,000 for proving if you can prove the world is a sphere floating in space, turning on its own axis, revolving around the sun, you can earn a prize of $5,000. If you can fall for a card trick, how well do you think you will do against psychological warfare? I'm a truther, but I still believe in NASA. Dabu 7. Stop it. You got to stop believing in their lies, Dabu. Okay, crepuscular rays converge to a point where the light refracts and not to the light source itself. This right here proves sun locality. Okay, don't make fun of tinfoil. It protects the Hubble telescope. Basically, this looks like they literally took it. Looks the size, ratios, and everything. Like they took a roll of toilet paper, put some tinfoil around it, added some CGI, and now you believe they're in space. Some more hunky-shunky hologram stuff. Okay, this is The Simpsons. And then they show you what you're living in, and then they laugh at you because you think you're flying through space, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and then they give you cartoons, and they laugh at you some more for buying this fake shit. Nikola Tesla Tower. I don't know why they got it. It's not a cell phone tower. A flat disk with electromagnetic firmament dome above. Tesla just replicated what we live in and tried to give you free energy, and they blackballed them. Fisheye lens. Look at this fake shit. If you take enough drugs, you can feel the earth spin. Okay. In a 19th century French experiment by Bayet and Arago, a powerful lamp with good reflectors was placed on the summit of Desierto Las Palmas in Spain, and able to be seen all the way from Compre and the island of Ibiza. Since the elevation of the 2 points were identical and the distance between covered nearly 100 miles, if Earth was a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, the light should have been more than 6,600 feet, a mile and a quarter below the line of sight. NASA's curvature model they tell you there should be an 8-inch curve per distance squared, okay? And then Neil deGrasse Tyson says, "Oh, you're too small to see it." No, your math says you're not. Your math that you give us says you're not too small to see it. Okay, NASA's budget for 2016, $19.3 billion, and this is what we get. Okay, this is what their relay satellites are. This is real satellites right there. That's how they do it. Okay, Google, whatever. And then they tell you this is real. That's the dark side of the moon, and that's the spot on it. And then they give you these cartoons. It's pathetic. It's pathetic that anybody has the nerve to post NASA stuff. It's insane that you have the nerve to post NASA cartoons and think it's real. You do realize a bunch of crazy satanic Freemasons convinced the world's a ball flying through space, right? You do realize that, right? Okay, please, will you people look at this? Will you look at this insane shit? It's so fake. You got Scotch tape holding two different colors of tinfoil together, buttons. None of this material could make it past 200 degrees, okay? And the Van Allen radiation belt is 3,000 degrees, okay? You might be able to cook a baked potato in it. Globetards, when you don't buy into their bullshit. NASA fans can see Mercury and Venus when the sun isn't visible. Derpness. See if you could put this together. Earth looks this way at night. You can never see these at night. See if you guys can figure that out. Pretty easy. Globe's head said the ship disappeared over the curve, but our camera zoomed in and could still see them. Okay, if the oceans are curved, why doesn't anyone observe distorted reflections? It amazes me how people don't get this. Please have faith in my CGI and wild assumptions. No! Grumpy Cat says no, he's smarter than you. You're going to be the dunce of the universe. Have you ever seen a river run uphill? No. You know why? Okay, there's a pattern emerging yet. Freemason. Connect the dots. Find the common denominator. Anal. Globetards don't have facts. They just argue in questions like, why does this and that happen, and how, and this and that? Because sheeps ask questions and wolves hunt for the answers. Okay, this is your rabbit on the moon. This thing will spin like a dime. It's a disc. If it wasn't a disc, you wouldn't see the entire thing lit up. You'd only see a little bit lit up. Why? Because light only reflects off flat and concave, not convex. If this was convex, it would not reflect it. Why would they lie about the shape of the Earth? Oh my God. I already did this one. I'm going to go back to the other video and watch that. Okay, the list of globetards who have actually researched flat Earth before trying to discredit it. They beg you for all the answers. They ask you instead of going and getting these simple, basic answers. By the nature of their answers, you know they've done no research. That's how we know. They're retarded. They don't want to go do any work. They're not into. That's why they just watch TV. Who has a monopoly on all the information you see. Flat Earth fact. NASA and modern astronomy say Polaris, the North Star, somewhere between 323, 434 light years away, or about 2 quadrillion miles away from us. Firstly, note that this is between blank miles, a difference of that, over 600 trillion miles. If modern astronomy cannot even agree on the distance to stars within hundreds of trillions of miles, perhaps their science is flawed and their theory needs re-examining. However, Even granting them their obscurely distant stars, it's impossible for heliocentrists to explain how Polaris manages to always remain perfectly aligned straight above the North Pole throughout Earth's various alleged tilting, wobbling, rotating, and revolving motions. You really got to be a batshit idiot to believe anything NASA says, really. It's insane when you do any research on it at all, unless you're a shill. If you believe NASA, you're a fucking shill. Okay? It's interesting that the Vatican maintained 2 telescopes to look for alien spacecraft. One of the telescopes is actually called, are you ready? The Lucifer Telescope. I'm not making it up. I'm not making that up. I know it sounds crazy. So this is an official name for a Vatican telescope. I say to Catholics throughout the world, why would your Vatican name a telescope after your devil? Okay. Blue arrows show many directions of sunlight. Orange circle shows hotspot of lighting. This plus indicates camera lens axis, but man's shadow does not seem to point camera that way. Again, you got this this is a shadow this way. This one is clearly perpendicular. I mean, almost this way. You cannot. This is a studio. You can't buy this fake shit, people. I mean, this is insane. Okay, this is the tree of life. This is at the North Pole. Okay, Einstein was once asked how he felt to be the smartest man alive. His reply was, I don't know, you'll have to ask Nikola Tesla. It's about the only smart thing he said. No, he said some smart things, but yeah. Okay. And then this is what Nikola says about him. Einstein's relativity work is a magnificent mathematical garbage, which fascinates, dazzles, and makes people blind to the underlying errors. In other words, it obfuscates. Look that up. The theory is like a beggar clothed in purple, whom ignorant people take for a king. Its exponents are brilliant men, but they are metaphysicists rather than scientists. Again, he kind of compliments him here too, though. Yeah, there you go. Here you are on a ship looking. That's your wall. Where's the ice wall? Where's the curvature? Where's the curvature is what you should be asking. Mountain sunrise prove a flat Earth. If Earth was a bar, the ball, the light would hit the peaks first. The peaks are not hit here. Man, do the math, people. My teacher said Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, but we can't feel anything because of gravity. That's just something indoctrinated people say, son. Alrighty then. Built at a time when men believed the Earth to be flat, and it worked perfectly. These are the aqueducts, and they go for miles and miles and miles with no curvature. A surveyor and an engineer of 30 years published in the Birmingham Weekly Mercury stated, I'm thoroughly acquainted with the theory and practice of civil engineering. However bigoted some of our professors may be in the theory of surveying accounting to the prescribed rules, yet it is well known amongst us that such theoretical measurements are incapable of any practical illustration. All our locomotives are designed to run on what may be regarded as true levels or flats, datums. There are, of course, partial inclines or gradients here and there, but they are always accurately defined and must be carefully traversed. But anything approaching to 8 inches in the mile, increasing as the square of the distance, could not be worked by any engine that was ever yet constructed. Taking one station with another all over England and Scotland, it may be stated that all the platforms are on the same relative level. The distance between eastern and western coasts of England may be set down as 300 miles. If the prescribed curvature was indeed as represented, the central stations at Rugby or Warwick ought to be close upon 3 miles higher than a cord drawn from the two extremities. If such was the case, there's not a driver or stoker within the kingdom that would be found to take charge of the train